Cabin 13 Productions.
Oh man, I just caught myself sniffling in the mic after I just...
Wow. God. What a
Alright, sneak peek. Here we go. It's real quick. It's gonna be quick. Ready?
And one time
We sparked a match off his elbow, dude.
It's gotta hurt the pride more than anything. It's like,
you know, my pride was shattered.
I wonder if I fall from this height if it'll kill me.
I'm such a loser, sweating God, I'm the worst.
Here at the Woodsmen, we've made it abundantly clear that the wilderness is not just a backdrop for us, it's our true home and sanctuary. However, this deep connection with nature doesn't come without its risks. One of the most dangerous threats we can face is the possibility of a bear attack, which can occur when you least expect it. In this week's episode, the team will dive into the highly acclaimed film, The Revenant, which has garnered numerous awards, including an Academy Award for Best Actor. We'll explore the film's gripping portrayal of survival in the wild and discuss the harrowing true story that inspired it. Join us as we analyze the challenges of living in the American frontier and what it means to confront nature's fury.
Welcome back to the Woodsman Podcast. We're your hosts, Joey Rucker.
And Brent Murphy.
Welcome back, chat. We're off to a great start. Nothing happened in the studio.
Nothing happened.
Everything's normal today. No roastings of me happening. Definitely. We're all good.
It is recording day on November 3rd.
Yep.
We are just now into the Thanksgiving season.
Sure.
Are you gonna do no shave November since
Probably.
we didn't do October?
Probably. Yeah, I'm down. I'll probably grow it out. I'm trying to get it back to that thick boy that I had for a while, but
The big meaty beard.
honestly, I thought it grew faster, but apparently not. It's taking its sweet time to go
You shaved it and it's no longer gonna come back.
God, if this is all I had left for the rest of my life, I don't think I'd ever shave again, ever.
I don't think you could at that point.
No.
Well, oh man, I just caught myself sniffling in the mic after I just...
Wow. God. What a
Well, I guess that's a perfect segue to go into our first episode of Patreon is out now.
That's the segue.
Yeah, because if you saw the video, you would know how bad I reamed Joey on camera.
Was it that one? Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. So,
First Patreon episode out, everybody. We're finally not lying to you at our end credit card.
video exclusively on Patreon and YouTube.
But you knew that.
You already knew that.
You already
If you're
knew that.
watching, then
Yeah. Or if you're on Spotify and you didn't know, well,
maybe you should hit the download button
Yeah.
every once in a while.
exactly. But yeah, first Patreon episode out. It was a doozy. I loved it. It was fun.
It was a good one. I would say very last minute, but very productive, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, it was. It's probably going to be a bit longer than most episodes we're planning to put out for now, but we also had to kind of get everybody in the mood and up to date with what our plans for Patreon were. And
Yeah.
I think going forward, we're going to probably have a lot of fun over there. And so if you
Yeah.
want to see some unhinged, real woodsmen that don't have to, cater themselves to all these Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube rules, then you should go check out Patreon. I think we're starting at $5 a month for membership.
Yes, for the exclusive show.
Yeah.
The exclusive show, which you will get. We're trying to do bi-monthly, so one every 2 weeks, roughly. Something like
hopefully.
that. Yeah.
That's the goal.
So hopefully you guys like it. We had a lot of fun our first time, so we can't wait for the second one, which we need to prepare for and hopefully figure out by the time we need to record it.
I've been thinking to myself some ideas we could do. I have a couple brewing.
Heck yeah. Well, and don't worry if you can't afford the $5 a month, which I know sounds like a lot. We are hoping to do some more things that'll be possibly under smaller tiers, maybe dollar tiers or something.
Mhm.
So just stay tuned. Work with us. This is the first time we've ever used Patreon, so we're just trying to figure it all out.
We're learning it right now as we go.
And we're the only ones, here doing it. So, it takes a little while when you have no guidance on anything like that. So bear with us, and we'll get some cool stuff popping for you soon, including possibly some merch, which, again, I'm excited for, even though I haven't told our co-host at all. So it'll be a fun time.
What?
What?
I mean, you guys have talked in...
I got some logos brewing.
Really?
Possibly, perchance.
All right.
You're like, well, this is news to me.
Yeah, this is I'm just saying, maybe throw them by me. Didn't you graduate in digital design? Fine.
It's cool.
Turned out helping. Never mind. I don't want to. Never mind. Just move on.
All right. Well, we already said send to spooky season. So I hope you guys liked last week's chillcast, because obviously we needed a little break. It was a lot. We recorded at least 3 times in 1 week, and it was not all that fun.
I was very tired.
Very tired. So we hope you guys like that small little chillcast, and we hope you guys are ready for today's episode, because we got a good one cooking. So.
Oh, but we didn't write it down, so that's why Brent didn't bring it up, because of our outline. But also our first episode with 2 cams.
Yes.
We're officially now recording the second camera with a phone. And if it doesn't look great, it's our first day. Give me a break. I'm working on it. But we're going to get there. It's going to start looking real sweet, especially when we get a video switcher. So
it already looks very crisp. So
compared to the phone, yeah.
Yeah, so hope you guys like it. Hope you guys like it.
Sorry, but that's the last announcement.
Yes. Well, if you guys have any stories, also, if you have any spooky stories, just because it's not October anymore,
true.
Don't forget to send them in, because we do have some plans for those in the future. So if you have any of those stories or any other cool stories, questions, comments, and concerns, you can always email us at thewoodsmanpod@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on Instagram at woodsmanpod. And eventually, I will set up the Twitter/X. I just am so lazy, and people are mean on there, so
People have already called us gay on Instagram. It's not like it's gonna get.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I am happy
hate
all the
comments
time.
do nothing to me.
I am happy all the time. So the joke is on you.
That's not true.
That's not true. That's a lie. That's a lie. Well, let's roll the first clip. Well, chat, we are back, and it wasn't rolling the clip. It was definitely rolling in the next segment of this podcast.
Yep.
What do we got today, brother?
Today we are talking about one of my favorite movies, The Revenant, with Leonardo DiCaprio. And not just the movie, but we're talking about the story.
The story is wild.
Of Hugh Glass. Is that his name?
Hugh Glass.
Yeah. Pretty interesting story. I'm excited to get into it, because I actually didn't know that it was a real story until I talked with you about it after I had seen it. I think the first time I saw the movie was in college, like 4 years ago, 3 years. How long have I been out of college now? Oh God, I'm getting
a while.
Old. I'm getting old. No,
it's like when you first went into college.
It was like sophomore, maybe beginning of junior year.
It is a well done movie.
It's a great movie. It wasn't it the first movie that Leonardo got his Oscar for?
Yeah, finally.
Which is ridiculous to me. He should have earned it for plenty of roles.
Facts. I think he did really good at. I'm surprised he didn't get one for The Great Gatsby, and I'm surprised he didn't get one for The Wolf on Wall Street.
Yeah,
I think he just played such a bro's a whole different person. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He just killed it. So I don't know, man. But do you want to roll us in, or do you want me to?
Sure. I'm just gonna read off of the outline, because I'm not good at making things sound like it's me talking. So let's get into it.
You can't even make your normal talking
well,
sound like you're talking.
Shut up. Dude, apparently
Joey talk well.
Apparently, Chad, I'm just not in it today. I'm like, my brain is just not.
We also have an Eric cam too, chat. Eric, you wanna
he doesn't want to switch to. I should have put another thing here for me to.
No. We'll save that for next time when we actually get a better camera
right.
position.
What do you mean? That's a perfect
It's a
camera
great
position,
Give
bro.
him a little sneak peek. Just
All
like,
right,
boop, boop.
all right. Sneak peek. Here we go. It's real quick. It's gonna be quick. Ready?
Ah!
That's all you're getting.
sorry.
That's all you're getting.
sorry.
If there's any children in the room, tell them to.
Please be advised.
Put that thing away, man.
Please
There's
be
children
advised.
there.
All right, let's roll into some of the stuff about the actual story of Hugh Glass. There's a lot that we still need to learn about Hugh Glass, but we do know several key details about his life. His infamous encounter with the grizzly bear was first described in the publication from 1825 called The Portfolio.
Great name, by the way. Just the portfolio.
I do like that.
Not
that.
portfolio.
No, the
portfolio.
Under the title Letters from the West, number
14.
Thank you. That was in Roman numerals, and apparently I need to go back to middle school because I can't read Roman numerals anymore.
You're already counting on your fingers when you see it.
I was like 10. This is a 1.
That's 11. But there's a 5 in front of it.
The Missouri Trapper was the end of the title. However, a more detailed account of his life before that infamous day wasn't published until 1925, when George C. Yount
Yount.
wrote The Adventures of Hugh Glass.
I mean, bro was so infamous. He got his own publication written just about him.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you don't know what The Revenant is, you probably have
Gonna
heard
be
of,
very confused as
Yeah.
to what we're talking about, first
but
of all.
it's an infamous story of a grizzly bear attack that a man survived. That's like one of the
in
biggest...
the American frontier. So it's like, you don't
Yeah.
got medicine, you don't got... Like, they just left bro for dead, and he crawled. Like,
and I don't remember what episode of the Woodsmen it was where we talked about grizzly stories or just bear stories, bear attack stories.
I don't know.
I cannot remember.
Was it weirdness in the woods?
Maybe, but like I also remember talking about like werewolves and Bigfoot in that
Yeah,
one.
I think it... Oh.
Was it Call to the Wild?
Oh, I think it was Called to the Wild.
But Call to the Wild was why we like bears and wolves.
I mean, they're pretty cool.
They are pretty cool. So
They are pretty cool.
but what my point of that was, we talked about how there are a lot of these stories of people getting attacked by bears and other predators in the woods.
And let me
they're
say, the survival rate, not high.
pretty low. Yeah, I don't know. So this guy is one of the very few who actually get to live to tell the tale, and that's kind of why we're going to be going into his story.
Well, yeah. So, from what we know about Hugh Glass, he had a diverse background, and he worked as everything from a sailor to a pirate, and even becoming an adopted member of the Pawnee tribe, which is pretty insane.
Which I didn't even know he was a sailor or a pirate.
I didn't either. That's why I was like, oh, this is some information. That's crazy. So, he may have also taken a Pawnee woman as his wife while he was there at the tribe. And some stories suggest that Glass killed a grizzly bear during his time with the Pawnee, which earned him the name Takakrux. Takakrux. Yeah, nailed it.
Perfect.
Translating to white bear or grizzly. However, it remains unclear whether this part of this story is historically fact or just a legend.
So this then, in that case, is not the grizzly. That's the...
No, this is like before that attack, which would make it even more insane. And also, if you've already had to deal with one before, why are you back out there dealing with one again? Like, that's what I gotta...
Well, I mean, I can't speak for the real story, but I wouldn't expect him to have thought he was going to go up against the second one.
Well, I don't think he did either, but you would think
once
after
you fight
one
and
run-in
win
with a
one bear
grizzly...
fight, you're like, I think I'm good.
I think I'm going to stay back and gather the berries. That's what I think I'm going to do, because I'm not
Gather the
trying to...
berries.
It's hunters and gatherers, bro.
Or the first fight went so well, he's like, I could probably do this again.
If you're thinking
I'm a
man
bear
mentality, that might be
this,
it. That might be it.
First one was a breeze.
First, easy.
Second
Some
one,
light,
I got
some
yeah.
light.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think he should he should have done it. If he had the choice, he should have backed
Well, when you
off.
find out what actually happened to him,
Yeah.
and what, like, it's gruesome. Let me tell you, chat. It is a gruesome time.
Yeah.
Well, what is certain is that Glass lived with the Pawnee people for a significant period of time, and this lifestyle changed with the appearance of the advertisement in 1822 calling for quote-unquote enterprising young men in the Missouri Gazette and Public Advertiser and other Midwestern newspapers. So that was like pretty much the call to bring everyone who's within the frontier, like, hey, we need some hard people
We
to
need
try
some big
and
boys.
yeah, we need some boys that know the land to come out, hunt, and obviously
And fight bears hand to
yeah,
hand.
obviously hand-to-hand combat with bears. You know, that's
Fisticuffs, dude.
that's it. Just running a
Yo.
game of fisticuffs with that bear, dog. That's crazy.
Next person we want to talk about in this story is General William Henry Ashley, who was looking for men to travel with him via the Missouri River, and evidently Glass was interested. By the summer of 1823, he had joined a fur trapping expedition.
Which was the one that is mentioned in the 22 paper.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
William Henry Ashley, who was born 1778. God, old. Dude.
Right? That's crazy.
History so long ago.
In Powhatan, Virginia.
And died March 26, 1838. Cooper County, Missouri.
Yeah. Montgomery, Missouri. I'm pretty sure it's Missouri, right?
Montgomery.
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 It just sounds like a place. It just-
died in Montgomery.
That's not real.
That's not Montgomery.
That's not real.
Moving on about him.
Okay, yeah. He was a U.S. congressman and fur trader, obviously, who revolutionized the fur trade and hastened exploration of the American West when he introduced the rendezvous system as a substitute for traditional trading posts. So instead of having people meet from point A to point B, he was, I guess, the guy who created just meet in the middle.
I mean,
So-
I respect it.
Bro was like, that's too far.
It's not- I
Can
don't
you
wanna
just
do
meet
that."
me there? Like,
Do I have to?
I mean, I'd be pretty lazy too, bro.
I mean, you got to think that time period, like the weather conditions, the
The lack of roads.
the kind of travel that you have to do. It's not an easy journey. You're
And
not,
we played Red Dead Online. We know you need the hunter wagon.
yeah, but even then,
And-
I can just hop on a train and just wait 10 seconds.
Not for the fur.
Not for the fur.
Not for the
you're
fur
right,
trade.
Not for the fur. You got to climb all the way up those hills.
You gotta hunt, then you gotta
Gotta
throw
hunt.
it in a wagon.
Oh yeah, and bear hunting for perfect pelts in Red Dead. I think we've even talked about this on the podcast.
It's
before,
terrible.
but it's awful.
It's not
It
fun.
sucks. Fix the system because
They haven't made an update for Red Dead 2 online.
It's because they already made a perfect game, but it was so perfect that even its flaws are just like, nah.
It's like, we're just gonna leave it. They'll still play.
Yeah.
We're still gonna take their money.
Still gonna empty their credit cards.
And by God, Rockstar, you do. You do drain my credit cards.
Well, despite being over 40 years of age, Glass, known by his nickname Old Hugh, was a valued member of Ashley's 100. Ashley's 100. Oh, was that the name of it? Did I miss that? Or
Yeah.
was that-
Well,
okay.
no, that was just the
where-
name of
okay.
the.
It was called Ashley's 100, the group.
Yeah.
Oh, a group later known as the Rocky Mountain Fur Company.
If you just would have continued reading,
You know, the sad part is there wasn't even 100 men.
it wasn't even 100.
Ashley's 37. A group later, yeah, okay. Others in the group included Andrew Henry, Jedediah Smith, and Jim Beckworth, Jim Bridger, and John S. Fitzgerald.
Man, they didn't have a lot of like diversity between their names, did they?
Jim, John,
James,
Jedediah. I mean, Jedediah is pretty nice. I bet Jedediah.
I mean,
was a cool dude.
Beckworth is a pretty cool last name.
Yeah, I mean
Jim Beck-
Fitzgerald
James-
is a weird name too.
Fitzgerald goes hard, bro.
Yeah, Joey Fitzgerald. Brett Fitzgerald.
Fitz.
Hey, yo, Hey, yo, but if somebody started calling me Gerald, I don't know if I'd like
Come
that.
on, Gerard.
Come on, Gerald.
But if you think about it, they all start with J's.
Come on, Jeffrey.
Is it all J's? No, I mean,
Jim,
Andrew was the
Jim,
leader.
John.
This is true.
While on their journey, the group was attacked by a band of, I don't know if I can pronounce this, Arikara Indians after Ashley first traded with them, as portrayed in the opening of The Revenant.
So when they got in that big old scene where they get shot at with the bow and arrows and everything.
That was
the
being
ground,
attacked
that was-
after a trading that had happened between the two groups?
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess that's what they were trying to portray.
Oh, okay.
From what I captured. Yeah.
Gotcha. Quote from him, he says, "We traded with them as friends." From Glass. He wrote in a letter when informing the parents of John Gardner that their son had been killed.
Dang,
But-
that's tragic.
Yeah. But after a great storm of rain and thunder, they came at us before light, and many were hurt. I myself was shot in the leg.
Dang, so before this, bro, Hugh Glass has already been shot in the leg.
He's already killed a bear.
He's already killed a bear. He's been a
Before
pirate?
being shot in the leg, though.
Yeah.
Keep that in
Yeah, he was let's get this straight. Bro was a sailor, a pirate, a
Bear killer.
Pawnee tribe
Oh, yes,
member,
yes.
a grizzly bear killer potentially, shot in the leg by other Native Americans, and then bro's got to write a letter to a I would assume a young kid. I mean, if it's American Frontier, I'm thinking like maybe 13, 14. A young kid's parents that he died. And this is all before the actual bear attack that happens in the movie.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Dude is a mountain man if I've ever heard of one.
Yeah, he's one of those, like, you would just see him in modern day, like, just walk out of the woods,
Yeah.
like, brings a gas can, fills it up, and just wanders back into the woods. Like, that's the kind of man this guy would be. Like,
You gotta imagine like him being out, probably outside most of the day, just wrinkly, dry
yeah,
skin.
bro
Like,
looks
you could-
like leather.
Yeah.
Bro looks
Yeah.
like a leather
Definitely.
walking.
You
Looks
could
like
strike a
leather.
match on this dude, and it would no
It's like
problem.
My elbows from back in high school.
Literally, bro.
You know
So
they did
glad you
that,
started using.
Eric, side tangent. You know they used to make fun of me in high school for my ashy elbows. And one time
We sparked a match off his elbow, dude.
That's gotta hurt. I mean, not pride. It's gotta hurt the pride more than anything. It was like,
you know, my pride was shattered.
at least you know you would survive out in the wilderness because you could start a fire.
This is
you
true.
know, like-
Just rub your elbows together and it would just create a spark.
Can't you touch your elbows? Oh, you're screwed. You can't touch your elbows together. You could even start a fire.
And this is how he figured out he had to work out.
just to survive in the wilderness, so he can start a fire
Just
with
to
his
survive and stop putting lotion on those bad boys.
What about your knees? How's your knees doing?
My
over
knees
there?
are great, actually. My knees are very. What do you don't even what? What's wrong with my knees? My knees are totally fine. You could not light a match on them.
Maybe. So following the Ericera, I'm gonna say cool. Yeah, that's about the best I'm gonna pronounce that
I didn't
name.
know that's what you were talking about. I
attack.
thought you meant like Eric era, and I was like, "What's the Eric era?"
It's like I didn't know that was a thing.
All right, go ahead.
So
it's all about
following
me.
the following the tribe attack, it wasn't long before Glass encountered the infamous grizzly bear that nearly killed him. Deeming the Missouri River no longer safe, the Museum of the Mountain Men, based in Pinedale, Wyoming, notes that the fur trade party split in two, with one group headed west following the White and Cheyenne rivers, and the other, led by Andrew Henry, traveling northwest toward Fort Henry, which I feel like we've heard of before. Fort Henry. Sounds pretty familiar, right?
Yeah.
I don't know my American history that well, but like I feel like that name sounds familiar, right?
No.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, like I don't
Oh.
know my American history either.
Okay, cool. Glad I'm not
But I
the
agree
only
with you.
one.
it does sound familiar. I'm sure we'll get roasted by somebody.
Oh yeah, we got the man behind the chair looking it up for us real quick.
But while he does that, let's move on through the story. We don't know a ton about that era, but we wouldn't know anything about Hugh Glass if he hadn't been attacked by a bear. No doubt it's the bear story that made Glass famous and directly inspired both The Revenant and the 1971 motion picture Man in the Wilderness, which I actually also didn't know about until today when I was doing my research as well.
So we should sit down and we should watch that one.
I'd be down. I think that'd be fun.
That'd be a cool one.
Sometime either in August or September of 1823, Glass was hunting in the forest while the other men continued on. There, he stumbled upon a bear and her 2 cubs, which, by the way...
Worst possible outcome.
Oh, no.
Worst possible outcome.
It's literally, it's over for you. We've talked about this. If it's a black bear, you got a lot of, leeway. You're good. You can kind of just...
You got to yell. You got to be big.
Hey, bear!
But not only was it a grizzly bear, but a grizzly mom with her 2 cubs. That's like the worst thing to happen to you.
Unable to do much about it.
As one would.
Glass was brutally mauled by a bear.
Mutilated by the bear. I mean, technically he was when you hear about what actually happened to him.
No. He, do you want to talk about what happened when he got mauled?
Yeah. The claws. I mean, I'm just going to read the quote that's there.
Okay.
The claws literally bearing of flesh the bones of the shoulder and thigh, let alone scalping, bro. So by the time Glass's comrades came to his aid, the animal had slashed his face to the bone and opened long, gaping wounds on his arms, legs, and torso, explained Ron Soodalder. Yeah, that's
good.
There we go. Of American Cowboy. Quote, the trappers fired several balls into the creature, finally bringing it down besides the inert Glass. Somehow, with gashes on his face, his throat, and all over his body, the man survived the night, and for 2 days the party carried him through the dangerous territory. Eventually, they couldn't risk it anymore, and Andrew Henry offered 2 men an $80 bonus to stay with Glass until he died and give him a Christian burial. John S. Fitzgerald, who was played by Tom Hardy in the film, accepted the offer, as did a younger man who was later identified as Jim Bridger, though there's some debate about that, as Bridger is either unnamed or called Bridges in many earlier accounts. And the men stuck around for 5 days until Fitzgerald convinced his companion to leave Glass behind. Wow. Could you imagine? Throat slit open, face cut down to the bone, seeing grizzly bear's claws with your own flesh and bone on them. Your torso's ripped up, your thighs are ripped up, your arms ripped up. And you not only survived I'm just, wow.
No, it's absolutely
what kind
ridiculous.
of man,
At that point, do you
5 days.
Do you want to live?
7 days. 7 days, because it was 2 days with them, and then it was another 5 days with Fitzgerald and all that. That is a whole week.
Is it
Just surviving a week alone? I'd be like, okay.
How
I'm
long
done.
do you want to survive after that attack? Because honestly, gashes to the neck, you said his scalp
to the
was
bone.
the
Yeah,
bone
to
on
the
his face.
bone.
I don't think I'd want to keep going.
I've
said publicly that I don't want to live to 100. If I die at 80.
Bros were
good.
built different, dude. Bro was.
I know, but
You have to remember, bro was 40 when this happened too. He
my
wasn't even our age. He wasn't even
still
our...
stands.
No,
then.
I
if
know.
I'm 40 years old, I've lived a good enough life.
Especially in the American frontier.
Exactly.
You lived a whole life. He lived a whole 3 lives.
What am I fighting for anymore?
I think it's time for me to
My
cut
people?
it.
Well,
my people left me here.
yeah, exactly, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Also, so for the answer for Fort Henry
yes.
is known for being the site of the first major Union victory in the American Civil War. The battle took place on February 6, 1862, and was fought between Union forces led by Brigadier General Ulysses S. Grant.
Interesting. Okay, so I was gonna say I knew I've heard of Fort. Dang, so that fort lasted a long time.
It's still there.
In that kind of condition.
Yeah.
Guess we're gonna have
American
to take a field
frontier.
trip. Field trip on the Patreon.
Let's
Some
go. Remote sesh.
Exactly, dude. It'd be great.
Dude, that's crazy. Okay, well, you want to take this one? You
Yeah,
want me?
sure. So after they kind of abandoned him, Fitzgerald
After they left him for
kind of
dead.
just like left him to die. You know how it is. Well, when Fitzgerald and Bridger took Glass's weapons, no, I'm not gonna do that. When they took his weapons before leaving the man to die, yet Glass did the exact opposite.
Bro is a G.
Through sheer force of will, which is the perfect way to write that. It's like sheer force of just inner willpower, bro.
Because there's nothing else that would keep me going.
Yeah, he doesn't have any face or.
It's already been a week since the attack. So
Yeah. The man crawled his way back to the nearest camp, Fort Kiowa, covering over 200 miles across South Dakota until he arrived there. He survived on low-hanging berries, roots, and any meat he could find dead on the ground as he scuffled his way toward salvation. Some suggest he even ate snakes and crossed his path. That crossed his path. The Cook notes...
And Cook.
Oh, I'm sorry. And Cook notes that one day he happened upon a pack of wolves who killed a buffalo, waiting until nightfall to gather some leftover meat for himself once they'd gone. Cook also recounts Glass's encounter with a band of Sioux Indians who helped him disinfect a wound that was covered in worms. Ooh, it took Glass about 6 weeks to make it to Fort Kiowa. Ooh, oh God!
So
I didn't even think about
2
things
months,
like getting in there.
2 months of just surviving by crawling. Like, what is that? What is that?
The part with the what was it? The grubs, the worms.
Yeah,
that's actually a practice still done today in the medical practices. I forget what time.
Certain bacteria.
Yeah, it's a maggot, and what they do is they actually eat infected or dead skin on wounds. So
That's
they
crazy.
actually still do that in certain practices now.
Yeah, but the way this is written, doesn't it sound like they were disinfecting a wound that already had worms in it? It says who helped him disinfect a wound that was covered in worms.
It's
Probably.
possible.
I mean,
It could go either way, to be honest.
Extremely infected.
Because if you think about it, flies, gnats, laying eggs in the, it could be both. It's very possible. Who knows? But I'm just saying.
To think bro didn't lose any limbs either.
Oh,
I mean, that's
like you think about that, like
every
like
part
going
of this
through all
story
that.
is a miracle.
Like
I mean,
it's just crazy, man.
well, it doesn't even. Does it say how many days it took for him to cover the 200 miles?
I think 6 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, so the fact that he was
6 weeks to make it there,
plus the week prior to that,
Yeah.
So a whole
like
7
2 months,
weeks,
like 2 months, bro.
that's
like,
wild.
of just
Of
crawling. Yeah,
of just crawling
like
in the
this
wilderness,
man did not
bro.
want to die. I think I would have been
Which
like,
is why I'm so confused. Why not? Like, say
Like,
hello to
he wanted to
Jesus.
go back to his
like
Pawnee
being
wife.
40. Probably.
That must be magic.
I mean,
I'm just gonna say that must be magic.
Bro was in
yeah.
love, dude. He had to get there.
He better have been. There better have been a girl, because if it was just like, oh, I love the chow.
I love the wilderness.
I love drinking water out of the river. It's like, no.
I think I'm good. All right. Well, by the time he got to Fort Kiowa, Hugh Glass had done the impossible, obviously. It was a miracle that the man survived, and with revenge fueling every breath, he joined Antoine Levine Citlo and his small crew as they hoped to escape the Akiara territory and head to Fort Henry, which rested near the mountain of the Yellowstone River. Buying new weapons and ammunition, Glass went out with Levine's group and was eventually disappointed to find out that Henry's fort was abandoned in favor of a new one near Bighorn River. According to Yount's account, Glass arrived at the new Fort Henry on New Year's Eve, only to find that Fitzgerald was long gone. Oh man, that's great. Could you imagine being so angry that someone left you and then you like finally get to the destination and
And they're not there.
still
They
not
left,
even
they
there?
left you again.
Yeah, they left you again.
Double whammy.
That's crazy. So Bridger, though, however, that was played by Will Porter in the movie, he was still there, and it wasn't long before he confronted the young man. But based on Cook's 1830 account of the story, Glass figured that Bridger didn't really have much of a say in the matter and understood that it was really Fitzgerald's pressure that led the lad into leaving him behind. And, quote, that curse shall be forgiven, end quote. Cook notes that though it is unclear if Glass actually uttered those words himself, quote, I swore an oath that I would be revenged on you. Man, this is like crazy old-timey
talk.
Yeah. I would be revenged on you and the wretch who was with you, quote, end quote. Glass reportedly told the young man, but I cannot take your life. I see you repent and you have nothing to fear from me. Go, you are free. For your youth, I forgive you. Man, see, this is a guy of integrity too, bro.
Man.
That's wild.
Because that's another thing that doesn't make any sense to me, since I'm still just going to complain about this man's will and soul. If, by God's name, I am still fighting for my life to live after everything that's happened to me, there's no way I'm not taking revenge. Like, kindness of my heart, my ass.
Like, you left me to die for 2 months while I crawled on my hands and knees.
And making the entire trip, like, eating, like, berries and dead meat. It's like, no.
Again,
I'm not
bros
gonna
were
get there
built
and be
different. Bros were built
you all right.
different. Like, that's crazy.
No.
But if he wouldn't have let him go, look at this. Bridger went to become one of the biggest mountaineers in the wild frontier. And the Bridger Mountain Range in Gallatin County in Montana would go on to be named after him.
Just because he felt bad.
Probably.
But you got to also remember, though, eating dead meat, like dead carcasses, is still bad. So the fact
Yeah.
that he
It's still
didn't,
bad.
no, it is like the fact that he didn't get any type of bacteria or some kind of
Yeah.
like,
Worms crawling.
yeah, like it's
Ugh.
amazing that didn't kill him either.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking, depending on the area they were in, and it was like, what, September, October, I think they said. It's probably snowing, which, I mean, at least if he's going to see any dead carcasses on the ground, at least maybe be like close to frozen or like, you know,
Depending on how long
something
they
like
were out
that.
there.
Yeah. You know, I don't know. But that's crazy. But they portrayed that in the movie too with
That's
with
true.
him crawling up with the wolves and everything, which is crazy.
But Fitzgerald was still out there. The following June, Glass finally caught up to the man who left him in the wilderness to die and took his rifle as a prize. Discovering that the man had retreated to Fort
Atkinson.
Atkinson, Glass arrived hoping to enact his revenge, but was unable to on account that Fitzgerald had joined the U.S. Army and was therefore a government employee free from Glass's reach. The actual Glass was enraged, unable to take his revenge, but he told his story to Fitzgerald's superiors, who graciously returned Glass his gun. Glass was satisfied with that.
Oh, that's wild.
No!
That's wild.
No!
I just want my gun.
I traveled the entire countryside, fought bear and snake, and ate worms and rat
For my revolver.
for my rifle.
It's like, well, you can't kill him. Here's your gun. Okay.
It's like, what?
Fair trade.
Though disappointed that he could not use that said rifle on his enemy, the frontiersman continued as a fur trapper for nearly another decade before he was killed on the job by a band of Arikara Indians in 1833, thus ending the legend of Hugh Glass.
Wow.
Really went out by f***ing Indians, dude.
That's crazy.
Like,
out
fought
of
bear,
everything.
Did he fight Indians at all? Like, did he have to?
He fought the
Yeah, that same
Arikara.
tribe
Yeah,
at the
Yeah.
very beginning, yeah.
I mean, this dude, he did everything he could.
they got him in the end. That's
Man,
just
that's
sad.
They played
crazy.
the long game.
They did.
That's great. And they probably weren't even out for him. They were probably, he was just, probably on a fur trade, and they were like, oh, there's just a group of white men that were probably doing something they shouldn't have, and then he just got caught up in it, man. Like, that's crazy. It's like that one guy. They made the movie off of him, Chasing Mavericks. You guys remember that movie? It's about the guy who was like surfing the biggest waves like ever recorded in Hawaii or whatever. Bro conquered it. He conquered one of the biggest waves like ever, and then he died snorkeling.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Like, how like that's like so crazy how
Like
many
the
people.
most peaceful thing you can think of.
Yeah.
How
like,
did how?
like he
how?
miscalculated and he drowned. Yeah, it was like so, but like bro was training to like hold his breath for like over 5 minutes.
Deep diving snorkeling.
I don't think so. I think bro was like literally just snorkeling or something. Like it was something like really basic where it was like, what the heck? Like how did?
Weird.
Yeah.
Maybe he hit his head.
I know.
Maybe?
I
I
know
mean-
they've done like deep diving. It's an
Yeah, like
actual
the deep
sport,
snorkeling
and where they have to like when they get so far down, the water pressure is so immense that it could when coming back up too fast, it can collapse your lungs or
yeah, so you have to
explode
like
your,
you have
implode
to
your
take
lungs.
breaks like
You have to
so you can
stop like
decompress
at
a little
levels
bit.
of
Yeah.
the depth, so your body can readjust to the water pressure and the normal atmospheric pressure.
Yeah.
So-
it's so wild,
yeah.
dude. Like I don't know, but you get stories like that time and time again. I mean, there's someone in the missing 411 cases too that he was like a master, all his friends said he was like a master like bear tracker or whatever. Never like harmed the bears. He would just like go and like study them and everything, and like he died by a bear like mauling him and his like girlfriend or something like in the wilderness. And it's like that's someone who spent their
Weak.
entire life doing that,
Weak. Didn't even travel 6
Whack.
weeks to get a gun.
That's all I'm saying, man. Let
Get
Fitzgerald
some
live.
rinky-dink gun. That
It
was
probably wasn't even a good gun, bro.
It's probably crap, dude.
Like, oh my gosh.
Could've
can't
easily
believe
bought a
it,
new
bro.
one.
Can't believe it.
But yeah.
I need to see what this gun was. We need to see if they have this gun in a museum or something. Like, I need to know.
I'd be surprised if they didn't.
They would have to have something of his, I feel.
Yeah.
Like his story's just too crazy. Well, let's take a little break to do a little promotion.
Yeah. Well, as you can see, Joseph Fairfax is not with us still this week. He's still on hiatus.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Joseph Fairfax.
He's actually dead.
He's-
That's the last
Yeah.
Fairfax.
He talked about so many people dying that he
He
just-
got off.
He crippled over and died.
Not John Wilkes Booth. He got boofed.
He got John Wicked. A fate worse than death, honestly. No, but we thought it would be a little fun that instead this week we would promote our new show,
Back to the Cabin,
Back to the Cabin.
exclusively on Patreon,
Finally.
which you will get uncensored,
Yep.
unedited, just the raw bear and wolf.
So if you want to see just a little sneak peek into that world, we have one episode out so far. We're going to try and post monthly. But here's a little snippet of what we got onto this last month during spoopy season.
Roll the vid.
Are we allowed to cuss on here?
Of course.
Oh, there it is. What do you call it when a frog...
You mean that? I'm like gonna teach you guys how to make your own modded spirit box, right? So this is a spirit box.
Are you people at all? Are you something else?
Was that a yeah?
It sounded like, yeah, we are. It sounded like scream.
$50 to $100.
Huh.
See, those are some of the ones, chat, where you're kind of like, do you like the Woodsmen podcast?
We have to check back. on
That, yeah, that
We
one
have
was
to go back on
interesting.
that one.
Okay.
Do I look like a slab of meat? Sounded like yes. Damn. Oh, yeah, I gotta call it. I'm feeling queasy. Ugh. So,
True, we can do
it's up
whatever
to
the
you.
we want.
Exactly. You rules.
Just tree falls down or something. Like, all right, I think it's time to get out of here.
Oh man. Well, there you go, chat. If you want to check out our Patreon, that's how to do it. That's what you get. That's what you get to look forward to.
I mean, you didn't even say how to do it in the promo,
But we did. You're right. There you go,
just
chat.
go in the link.
That's what
in
you
the
can look forward
description,
to.
and just go to the link in the description.
Look up the
and,
Woodsmen podcast on Patreon, and we're there. That's us, the Bear and the Wolf. Same logo as you're seeing on all of these Spotify pictures and all of these YouTube thumbnails. You know those hands that go in like this, like that?
That's us.
That's
that,
us.
that is
That's
indeed
us.
us.
You
That
should,
is
you
indeed
should
us.
look up the one on Patreon that looks like that. But all that said, you can find us there. But we also want to get back into this story of Hugh Glass and just kind of talk a little bit more about the movie adaptation. I originally did not know, as I think we mentioned in Main 1, that there was another movie.
I had no
Man
idea.
in the Wilderness.
Yeah, Man in the Wilderness.
Which is pretty cool. I'm actually very interested. Now I kind of want to see what that one's about.
And that one was like in the 70s too.
Yeah.
So it's pretty old, I guess.
I'm sure it's still pretty good. I mean, I don't know who the director or the
I don't know
the
nothing.
actors are, so
Yeah,
maybe,
I know
maybe
nothing
it's
about it.
bad.
Could you imagine if it was Sam Elliott
Oh man. Well, as who though? Who would Sam Elliott
as
play
the Mountain Man?
as the Mountain Man?
Hugh Glass himself.
Oh, I could see that. I could see that. That'd be pretty cool. The burly voice.
His thick old black mustache.
Show me the tit on an almond.
That's still such a goated line, bro. Shout out to The Ranch on Netflix.
But yeah, so we wanted to get into the movie and talk all about all the stuff that is very true, that it got very correct about the actual story, and some stuff that it didn't get correct. But
My God, is that really the date that movie came out?
yeah, 2015. Revenant came out 2015.
Wow.
It was based off just a very particular part of a novel that was written by Michael Punk. So it wasn't actually the whole story of Hugh Glass. It was just primarily just the bear mauling and the journey.
Okay, cool.
The really journey.
Nothing before, nothing after.
Yeah. The film was directed by Alejandro G.
It's okay. You don't have to try and pronounce that.
Iñárritu.
That was good. Okay.
And starred many great actors such as Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy, Will Poulter, and Domhnall Gleeson.
Domhnall.
Which who those four at least were probably my favorite characters. Leonardo DiCaprio obviously being Hugh Glass, Tom Hardy being Fitzgerald, Will Poulter being Bridger.
Yeah.
And then Domhnall
Was
Gleeson
he
was
Henry?
He was, I don't know if that's his name. I forget.
Ashley.
But yeah,
whatever, yeah.
the leader of the
Yeah.
main group. So
He was really good. Actually,
liked him
I
too.
liked his character.
Yeah. I was very sad. So we're gonna have obviously, if you haven't seen the movie,
It's been out for a minute.
I would say the first part of the podcast was kind of a spoiler. But
it's been out 9
if
years.
you want-
I think you
yeah,
should have watched
If you
it by
haven't
now.
seen it yet and you still think we're gonna spoil stuff, because we might spoil some certain things. There were certain parts of the movie that weren't actually in the original story.
But we're about to break your
spoil.
hearts on some of these things that
Yeah.
weren't actually a part of the real story.
Exactly. So to start off, I'm really sad that guy died at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna cut through a lot of different story elements, but I just also wanted to say I wasn't expecting him to die. I forgot he died because I know this isn't
So
my
did
first
I.
time.
Thank you, because I.
In the end, Fitzgerald scalps him.
Yo, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Oh my gosh, that is. Wow.
Pretty crazy.
Wow, that's taking some creative liberties there.
I think you might like to give probably one of the biggest features that's
Oh,
different though.
Yes,
the story.
yes. So basically, in the movie,
Mhm.
one of the leading, I guess, fuels to the fire about this whole thing is Fitzgerald, Tom Hardy's character, murdering. Yeah, he murdered the kid.
It's murder. It's
Well, okay, I haven't seen it in a while. I'm trying to remember exactly
it's
what
definite
happened.
murder.
Yeah, Tom Hardy's character, Fitzgerald, he definitely murdered Hawk, which was Glass's son. Now, the thing is, Hawk didn't exist. So
Yeah.
anyone who got really, angry or upset at the fact that Hawk died, it's okay because he didn't die in real life.
Yeah, Fitzgerald did not kill that guy.
Yeah. So we actually, like we've touched on a little bit before, there's actually very few evidence to suggest that he could have even had a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And if he did have a kid, it definitely wouldn't have been like the same age bracket or anything, because if it did come from the Pawnee tribe, he was only there for like 3 to 4 years. So the kid would have been really young compared to what he was in the movie.
Which does suck because he's not like the most prevalent character in the film, obviously. 'Cause even for his moments in it, I thought he was a very intriguing character. You know? Like he actually did bring a lot to the story. It did make me like really.
Well, you could understand the drive of like surviving off of that kind of like, anger. But like you said, it's like, if I'm just on the brink of death, I might just want to die, Like, I don't know if like I want to go through that whole thing if, say I didn't have a son that was unfortunately murdered by that same person, then that would make a lot more sense. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a bit disappointed, but I also think it's very interesting to know that I don't know. It also kind of confuses me that he went on that entire journey without a motivation.
That's what I mean. Like,
I don't know.
That's why there's something a little fishy. I feel like there might be more information that we could quite possibly be missing.
Maybe.
Because I don't know, to be that driven for a gun.
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of a letdown.
Yeah, like he was just okay with like giving it all up because they gave him his gun back. Yeah, it just sounds a little too fishy to me, but I don't know.
I think another big thing that was kind of one of the craziest differences to me was the end fight in the movie. Because as we mentioned in Main 1, Fitzgerald had like left well before Glass got back to camp in order to like get his revenge. But by the time Glass had found him in real life, Fitzgerald had already made it back to the U.S. Army and was a U.S. soldier, so that he was like, he couldn't be killed or taken revenge out on.
First of all, don't you think it's even crazier that Glass went and snitched to his superiors to try and, I don't know, maybe get him kicked out of the U.S. Army or something, bro? Like,
I think it's justified.
I know. I just think it's like, dang.
I think he's like, well, if I can't kill him, I'm gonna tattle.
I'm gonna tell on him.
That was his form of revenge. Just
that
to be
is
fair.
fair.
That's the closest he could get. He's like, at least
without getting in trouble.
I wonder if anything happened to Fitzgerald in the army once they like
I don't
found
know.
that
That
out.
would actually be another housekeeping next week.
Facts. I'll look it up.
But no, in the movie, it was way different. I mean, like, it was close. Fitzgerald was going to try and make it back to America and, like, try and swing his way back into the army so that he didn't have to, like, deal with the repercussions of his actions.
I mean, he was in America.
But wasn't he trying to get back to the U.S.? I thought he was trying to get back to the U.S. border.
Just trying to get back to the fort. It's
Either way.
okay. It's okay. We didn't get
fine.
American history. It's okay.
You can just make that face as though I'm dumb, like you did. I don't know if the camera got it on that moment, but it's like he was in America. Like me, I guess. But anyway,
well, you would have sound stupid on camera.
Sometimes we have unhinged episodes, chat. This one's a weird kind of unhinged. There's a lot going on here. Then maybe you guys will see at the end, maybe you won't. All that to be said, wherever Fitzgerald was going, he didn't make it. Because in the movie, Hugh Glass shows up and is like, I'm going to take your fingers. And just chops the dude's fingers as they get into this massive, completely manly fight.
Which, how was bro fighting that well after everything going
it
on
had
with
not
him?
been that long of recovery. He like got back to the camp, had some
6
hot
weeks,
water,
in fact.
some hot water, and some nice words,
and maybe some stitches or
I'm
two.
ready to kill again.
He's like, on vengeance.
I am vengeance. I wish I had the mask with me, but it's off to the side. But yeah, so I don't know. That was one of the biggest differences to me. Was like that whole fight is brutal and it's crazy and it's really good cinema. It's great acting.
And then you hear what really happened. I'm
It's
just kind of sad for him.
happened.
I'm
He was
just kind of
like,
sad
"Well,
for
at
him.
least have my gun." Like,
All right, I guess I'll go back to my haunting cabin now.
guess I'll be a fur collector.
Fur collector.
Fur splitter? Was that the title? I don't remember.
A fur trapper?
Fur trapper.
Yeah,
That's the
there we
one.
go,
That's the
there
one.
we go.
He knows.
He knows.
He knows.
Well, I mean, I think this like story is just crazy in general. Mainly because like we did play so much like Red Dead 2.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's like based off of like 1901.
I know the feeling of standing there and a grizzly looks at you and you're like,
Just-
"Oh no, no,
no.
Comes running at you.
It's a little scary. But no, I can almost just envision like the setting, you know, because I have played Red Dead so much where it's like,
Oh yeah.
like just think about being in this like very rural, there's like next town 200 miles away, you know, if you don't got a horse, you're walking. And if you're walking, that's a long time to walk. You don't know where you're going. Like, I mean, think about how disoriented you got to be after going through a whole bear fight and go through this whole thing, get left for dead. And then you're like, okay, I'm coming to. Where am I? Like, what do you, like, you don't even know where they were carrying you. You're just there. Like, you're just there. You probably can't talk because you got your throat.
Oh my
Split
god,
open.
that scene in the movie
You got,
where
like-
he has to grab the gunpowder, put it to the hole in his neck, and light it in order to seal it up.
Could
Let
you imagine?
me die.
Could you imagine halfway through those 6 weeks, he realized he was going the wrong way?
At that point, I probably just would have killed myself. I mean, because, like, at that point, where are you going?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
if you were going the wrong way,
Yeah.
like, you don't obviously know where
'cause
you're
then
going.
That means it only added more time to his travel.
Yeah.
So, like, at that point,
I guess I'll collect more berries.
I hope that buffalo's still on the ground.
Yeah, I hope that buffalo I saw 2 months ago is still there for me to eat bone dry.
That cliff can't be that far.
I wonder if I fall from this height if it'll kill me. No, like it's just you just think about something like this even happening to someone. And it's like it's real. Like that's the thing that's so crazy. I mean, like, yeah, you watch a movie about it, you're like, oh, based on a true story. Okay, cool. Watch the movie, you're like, dang, that was crazy. And then you read the story, and that's, like somehow the story was actually even worse. Like, because I don't know about you, but I don't think it really portrayed crawling for 200 miles.
No,
in the movie.
by the second half of his trip, he was on his feet, fighting against other tribes in the movie, of course.
Yeah.
And like he's shooting other people and fighting with knives, and it's like, dog, you got attacked by a bear like 3 days ago.
Like, what is happening right now?
How are you not crippling in pain?
So, like, I just want to know, did bro had to have made a full recovery? Nothing that I found claimed that he lost an arm or
What do
a
you
leg.
mean by
or...
full? Because I'm sure there were pieces of his body that never quite looked the same.
This is true.
I'm sure there were a couple like
I mean, it was down to bone on the face, so like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean,
Bone on the face, dude. It's like, can you imagine?
it doesn't say anything about his eyes. It doesn't say anything about losing limbs and stuff, though. So you got to think like,
I mean, it's an
he's probably disfigured for
incredibly
sure with
lucky
scars,
story.
but like,
yeah,
but like the fact that you just didn't lose any limbs just over like the infection
yeah.
of just like open wounds for that long,
Well,
like
it
that.
makes you wonder too, because if some of those wounds were down to the bone, even with the muscle regenerating back, it's not.
It's never gonna be the same.
full. Yeah. So you gotta imagine they probably couldn't wink anymore. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah. Just like some normal stuff, or like, never able to like rebend your arm back or
Right.
something, because
Yeah,
like you can
depending
only
where all
have
the
so
other
much
ones
skin or whatever to.
I could never do throat singing ever again.
I know. I want to know like how he was talking, like because it specifically talks about his throat.
His throat did
Like
get hit.
I just want to know. And if he was talking, did he sound like one of the smoker people that use the little machine thing, or was it like he just had to write on paper, or like did he and
Or
people
he
like,
sounded better.
oh Hugh, like like
Oh, Hugh.
I don't know, man. Like, because you also got to think it's like American frontier. You could be highly illiterate. He
Who
might not
else
know how to
but
write.
Hugh? Am
Like,
I right?
He's like, and they're like, oh,
Jaws just.
they're like,
It's
okay.
all squiggly lines at this point.
They're like, we'll get it. Grape juice. We got it. We got it. Like, I just don't know. I want pictures. I
That's
want
why
to know what he
I
looks
wanna know
like.
too, because like there's a scene in the movie right when the whole team goes off and Fitzgerald's the only one left, and Bridger was important.
Nah.
He went on to be the Bridger Mountain guy or whatever, but
But when this happened, he's a little baby back. But
but Fitzgerald, there was that scene as he's like getting ready to kind of go off with Bridger and just try and get back to the camp and leave Glass behind. And there's that scene. I was telling my mom about it today because I was just like, oh my God, I can't imagine, where Bridger is like tying him up and he's just like, hey man, I know this is hard. I know that you're probably not going to be able to get through this. It's probably in our best efforts and for the best betterment of our community that we get going.
yeah.
And so if you want me to just put you out of your misery, blink once. What?
And like
Can you
it should have been
imagine?
twice.
And you're like,
like what do I do?
no!
I can't even say anything.
Because you're like, you can't talk. Your throat has been slashed, and this
Can't even move
dude's
your
just
arms.
like,
Can't.
blink once, and you're just trying so hard. Dude, I suck at like staring contests. There's no way I'd be dead.
Yeah, I mean, instantly.
He would have killed me
Instantly, the
immediately.
person's blowing in your eyes.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he's like, blink once if you want to die.
Whatever sound you could get out, dude. I don't know, bro.
I don't know, dude. It's just crazy.
There's a bunch of great scenes in that movie. It really is an amazing portrayal. It's not quite the same as the original story, but it's a great portrayal, no doubt.
Well, judging by these pictures that we're looking at right now, bro looks like he made a full recovery.
I mean, do we know if this was before or after the attack?
Or if they
someone's
did it
like
drawn to make him
imaginative?
feel better.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I'll draw his face symmetrical today.
Yeah, guys, from these pictures we're seeing, they're mostly drawn pictures, and I mean, he looks badass with his like freaking bear talon like necklace and everything, but I don't know.
Yeah. Oh God,
That
cannot
looks
imagine,
terrifying.
dude. And bears are so big, dude.
A
Like,
grizzly standing on both hind legs, dude. Nah, that's crazy. Well, my man is a trooper. My man is a legend, actually. My man is just a straight
actual
legend.
legend.
Like, wow. Man, well, I have to say, like, what would you rate the movie? Personally.
Oh my God, the movie?
Like, because I would have to say just not only story, but the story it's based off of, the cast. I mean, the cast just itself was a phenomenal
Great.
pick. All the stunts, all the things like performed in the movie. I have to give it a 10, to be honest. And like, I don't rate much
Oh,
movies out of 10, but I would have to say that's a 10 movie for me.
I wouldn't say it's a 10. I don't know, because I always have this problem of I don't know if I could rate any movie a 10. I'd have to be really blown away.
Yeah.
But
Endgame's not a 10 for you?
Endgame is a 9 after having seen it enough times and like getting used to it. If
Okay,
you would have
that's
said
true, I
first
guess.
watch,
Yeah.
absolutely. The first time you ever see that, that's a dream. You're never going to get that moment back. But I also don't feel the same way about this movie, which is why I can't
Okay,
give
that's
it a
fair,
10,
that's fair.
you know? But I mean, yeah, overall, the acting, great. Cinematography, beautiful. CGI.
The color grading
amazing.
in it, like just
color
the
grading's fantastic.
cool color grade, like.
Honestly, original story, 6.
I mean, it's not an original story, so I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, the original person, like the live event,
you
them rating it a 6.
What?
Dog. He has no motive to live.
Yet he somehow does it.
He somehow does it. He gets all the way back to camp, finally has a moment to act out his revenge, but because of the law, he doesn't. And then he's like settled by just getting his gun back. Like his gun.
Says the one that hates confrontation and will do anything
If I
to
crawled for 6 weeks on my shattered belly
I'm listening.
through the snow.
Okay.
Don't do that. That's not my wallet.
That's not my wallet.
That's not my gun.
It's not my gun.
I mean, honestly, no. I mean, sorry, not Fitzgerald. Honestly, Fitzgerald can probably jump off a cliff, but Hugh
Stub his
Glass.
toe on the worst end
Yeah.
table known to
Your
man.
story just doesn't make sense, Hugh. I mean, the movie adaptation is so much more interesting to me than your life. But that's not to put down your story. Your story is still an immense miracle. Like,
It's crazy
by
that you're
far.
gonna slander my man Hugh like that, but
Listen, dog. Why would you want to live? He was 40 years old. He was at the prime age to die back then, and he just kept going.
well, he only lived for another
Just
10 years. So
surrender. Embrace the sweet relief of death.
bro wanted to die doing what he loved, and he was like, "This is not what I love, so I'm gonna stay alive until."
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to like put down his story. His story, like I said, is a miracle.
I just feel like maybe we don't have all the story.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
fair.
that could be a big part of it, cause like you said, ain't no way I'm going through all that to like
It's just after everything. Yeah.
to just for a gun, call it quits and everything. I don't know. It sounds like something maybe happened and maybe someone wrote the history book a little different to kind of cover some things up, you know. I don't know, cuz I mean, it even showed in the movie, and again, like I didn't go into too much research on like his ranks and everything. It sounded like he was admired by a lot of people.
No, yeah, he was well respected.
In the movie, it definitely seemed like he had a lot of like control over like, oh yeah, this is a big dog, you know, this is the big dog in the court, like, you know, gonna respect this guy, all this kind of stuff. Maybe he was a little bit more respected than we think, and maybe he did get his revenge on him,
Maybe.
you know, maybe he did get his revenge on Fitzgerald, and they were like, don't worry, we'll take care of this. And you know, I mean, all it takes is for them to just write down something different in a book, and then if we find it, we're just gonna write our own history on it, you know. So it's like,
Yeah, I'm interested
you
to
never
see
know.
how the movie Man of the Wilderness or whatever
yeah,
it's
like
called,
how it differs,
how it differs,
and everything.
and as well as maybe the book too. The book written by something Punk. I can't remember the name.
There's a couple, I think. I think there's a couple.
Yeah,
books
but
that have been written,
the
but
movie was adapted from a
written by that
story
story.
in that book from telling. So I'm interested
Interesting.
to see like how much detail was left out.
I
Just that
just
alone.
want to look up details of like the people afterwards. You know, I want to know. I want to
Yeah.
know.
Like,
Was
I'm
Fitzgerald
also-
talked about
yeah.
a lot after that, or did he just
I'm interested to
happen
hear
to-
more about the Arikara tribe
and like
and
what
like
was
how
going on with
how
that?
how they killed him in the very end. Like what happened there.
Yeah,
know?
if it was just some like freak, you know, like on a trail they shouldn't have been on or something, or if he was like targeted, or if like, you know, I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot that
There's a
like is
lot.
missing with early American history. You know,
As
a lot
per
of
usual.
shady things going on. So you never know. But I'm pretty sure something had to have happened. Like, I'm pretty sure, because like you said, it just sounds like there's so much motivation for you to just call it quits over a gun, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like maybe something else happened there that we don't know about.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's true. Maybe it could just be like a cover story for all we know.
That's what I'm saying. It only takes one different sentence to
How do you,
to change the
Are
history books,
you
you know?
kind of in favor of how Bridger was handled in the end, both in real life and the movie?
I mean, in the movie, they make it a lot more meaningful as to, like, you can see the turmoil that he was going through leaving him.
Mm-hmm.
If it was indeed like that, enough for him to forgive him on spot, because he saw him face to face and he forgave him. So it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like if that's the case, then yeah, I think like he was probably remorseful. I mean, they talk about how young he was as well, so I feel like he had to have been a young kid just doing what he, was told to do, because, respect your elders.
Mm-hmm.
And he probably was just, okay, I guess I gotta do what I'm being
Just gotta
told, even though
follow
I don't morally
orders, yeah.
agree with it, even if they left him out there with him, what is he gonna do if he is like a young kid?
Yeah.
Is he able to handle himself out there? Is
I doubt
he
it.
able to move someone that's on the brink of death, knowing what to do and all of that? I don't know. I think he was better off leaving him, because I think if he would have stayed behind, he probably would have definitely died. He was not
Yeah.
someone like Hugh that sounds like he's lived his whole life a hardened man.
Because at that point,
you know,
do you think if Bridger stayed behind that Hugh would even like have made as much of an effort to get back to camp as fast?
probably not. I don't
Like,
I feel like the kid might have slowed him down more.
yeah.
Because
agree.
if he doesn't know the land and everything, they make it very clear, at least in the movie, that Hugh knew
Mhm.
where he was. He was very geographically
Oh,
situated.
but I'm sure
you
that
know?
with the background that Hugh Glass has in real life, being a sailor and a pirate and
He
stuff,
knew
like,
he knew his
He knew how to
navigation.
navigate
He knew,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, use the
And-
stars alone.
Well,
like,
yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
especially being like a sailor and a pirate, he definitely would have had to known constellations and kind of could figure his way around with the stars, like you said,
yeah.
and like celestial navigating and all that. But
Mhm.
dude, I just couldn't imagine.
Which I don't know how I could do that. I don't know how people are like.
I can't
"It's-
pinpoint
it's-
stars out like that. Like,
It's Orion, so north is that way.
okay,
It's
but
like,
to be fair, we also live in a place that has so much smog that we cannot see
That's
stars
very
and
true.
light pollution. We don't have the means as, imagine people in the middle of the ocean. It's just pitch black.
yeah.
They could see stars way better than we
Really easy.
can,
Yeah.
So I don't know. But it's weird that you would rate it. Wait, so what would the movie rating be
The
again?
movie rating was 8. His real life story is a 6.
That's crazy. I would give his real life story an 8.
I'll give it a 7 because of the bear.
I would give it a 9, just knowing that there could possibly be more to the story than maybe what we have.
That doesn't make it
But
a
if
9.
we
that makes you
don't-
want
if
it to
we-
be
we
a
d-
9.
I know, and
Because
I
you're
was
being
gonna say,
given
even
a
if
6.
and even if it wasn't, I'd still say it's an 8.
All right. That's fair.
I give the man credit, bro.
No, I'm trying.
Bro was living.
That's why I don't
so-
want it to come across as like I'm judging his story. I just think the gun thing was weird, and I think
Yeah, the gun thing is weird.
motivation for why to stay alive was weird. But
I think the story
overall,
ending
the
is a
fact
good
that he
6.
Did it is just awesome. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely mind blowing.
That's how man. People always be saying our generation is weak.
We are looking back at this guy.
Compared to this man, yeah,
Yeah, no.
yeah, I am weak, and I
Mhm.
am not afraid to say it because I don't think I want to
Yeah,
live through that.
I'm
period.
letting chat know right now. If I am ever mauled by a bear,
Just leave me.
let me die.
Let me be the food.
Let me move on.
So let me be. Take me to the back of the barn and just
Yeah.
put me out of my
Yeah,
misery.
exactly.
I'm not trying facial skin grafts. I'm done, dude. Just put me out. Put me out.
Nah, we'll get another host for Woodsman.
Joseph B. Bearfax.
Oh, he could take my spot. Yeah, he could take over.
It's just the bear. The bear that mauled you.
Wearing the same clothes as me, but it's just like
With the headphones on. You just, so how do you feel about today's segment? And cool.
oh nice.
Well, that's just episode
Cue the intro.
of the Woodsmen podcast.
All right, chat. Well, this has been an amazing episode. Very fun. A lot of laughs. A lot of really hurtful comments.
A lot of unfair reviews.
Yeah. But we wanna, as always, as per our deal with you guys, we're gonna leave you off with a question. How far would you guys be willing to go to seek revenge on those who have hurt your loved ones? Would you
Be sure to let us know in the comments.
yeah. Yeah, let us know all the dirty things you do, all the evil.
Make sure you put on Instagram,
Yep,
not our email. We
Or
want,
at our Patreon if you want to.
if you want some raw uncensored footage.
Yeah. But yeah, this was a great episode. I had fun doing it.
Heck yeah. Make sure to check out The Revenant. I'm pretty sure last time I saw it was on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on Netflix.
No, it's on Max right now.
Oh, okay. Well, make sure
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
make sure to check out The Revenant on HBO Max, and make sure to check out the Woodsman podcast wherever you get your podcasts. So
Video exclusively.
and Patreon.
We've been your hosts, Joey Rucker.
And Brent Murphy. The Woodsman podcast is actively reading and responding to everything and anything on Instagram and our email. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about the show, or would like to possibly be on the show, you can email us at thewoodsmanpod@gmail.com. Make sure to keep up with all things Woodsman related on Instagram as well, at WoodsmanPod. Don't forget to rate, like, and subscribe to the Woodsman podcast wherever you get your podcasts, with video exclusively on YouTube and Patreon. Make sure to follow our personal accounts at Strange Kids and Pie Master J on all platforms.
The Woodsman podcast is co-produced by Brent Murphy and Joey Rucker.
Our technical producer and engineer is Eric Bessero at Elite Sound Studios, with additional engineering by Brent Murphy.
Video editing by Joey Rucker, and Blood, Sweat, and Tears by all of us.
Any additional content by the Woodsman podcast may not be used without our permission. Copyright Cabin 13 Productions.
And remember,
If you think you can fight a bear, you can't.